Greetings, fellow citizens. So, I've picked up a very interesting story in the newspapers today. I'm just reading this newspaper now, the Daily Nation of Tuesday, 14th October 2025. The headline says, "Canona is not a scam," says the Minister of Energy. Now, part of the story says, the Energy Minister, Honorable Chikote, has challenged William Udolo, the PF presidential aspirant, to prove his corruption allegations, and he further goes on to explain, that is the minister now, to explain that Canona is an independent power company that is doing a service to Zesco by importing power from Mozambique and reselling it to Zesco. So Mwamfwa, you remember I have been on this subject for a very, very long time. And I always say, we've reached a point where we, the citizens, must start holding this government to account over the decisions it has been making. I've often argued and always argued that most of these decisions are not in the best of the citizens or the country at large. Mostly, these decisions have been very corrupt decisions by nature and design. So this story is a confirmation. Remember, I took this matter to Parliament. The minister skated around this issue. I have debated over this issue several times. Nobody has had the audacity to respond because I have been giving nothing but facts. You remember last year in December, or somewhere in October rather, the minister announced the decision of government to increase electricity tariffs. Okay, under what they called emergency tariffs. Okay, now the idea there was, let us increase electricity tariffs so that Zesco then would be able to raise money to enable them to go and import power to cushion the electricity deficit. So government has been mobilizing resources from us, the citizens, to enable it to go and import power. Part of the places where, government is supposed to be importing power through Zesco is Mozambique through a company called EDM. Now, it was revealed that instead of government going to buy straight from EDM of Mozambique, they've allowed they've allowed a middle company, a middleman in short, to go and import that power and then vaisa mkushtisha ubuteko through Zesco at an increased price. In fact, the story has been that this company is importing power at 9 cents and we are buying at 11 cents, meaning variediapo ka 3 cents per mudu. You remember the story of middlemen, no kuliapo per mudu, right? In this story of the newspaper, unless the minister has been wrongly quoted, he is basically saying it is true that there is this company called Canona that is actually importing power from Mozambique and reselling that power to Zesco. Interestingly, Canona, they are buying power from EDM. EDM is where we've been buying power as government through Zesco all this time. Using which infrastructure? Our own Zesco infrastructure. Because Canona does not have any infrastructure, offices, they have to use your infrastructure owned by Zesco to go and buy power from Mozambique. Elo imwe mwambo kushita pamutengo ukalamba pamudu. That is what is happening in this country. Now, what are the justifications. The justification, according to the minister, is that the balance sheet of Zesco is very bad. In short, Zesco tabako etempia to go and buy power. That is why there is this private company going to buy power using Zesco infrastructure. Ero baisa mukushitisha kubuteko pamutengo ukalamba. Wait a minute. We were asked as citizens to contribute money by way of paying for more or paying more for our tariffs. Okay? The idea is let us raise money through increasing of tariffs. We mobilize resources so that we can go and import. So how then does government now say Zesco taikwete mpia to import power? And that is why we have allowed a private company to import. Meanwhile, the citizens from October, in fact, started November 1st, they've been paying for, or rather at increased tariffs. And Zesco has been mobilizing money, which money must have gone to be buying this power from EDM of Mozambique. But today, your government is saying, no, Zesco does not have money to import that power. So, ngashire mpia, isho that emergency tariffs, which were only meant, because the emergency tariffs were meant to last for only 3 months. But from that period of November 1st to Lelo, which is October, we have still been paying emergency tariffs. Where is that money going, and why should we now be paying for more? As we've been doing over all these years when we have a problem. From a private company, which company is buying using our infrastructure owned by Zesco. That is why I keep saying and emphasizing the point that if a former citizens are quiet over the decisions and indecisions of government, one day we will take Vukapanga decision that is going to plunge this country into chaos. A responsible citizen who hold the government accountable over its decisions and indecisions. In this case, decisions that are questionable, such as this one, must be put to task. Government must be put to task over such a decision. And I've been saying these things over and over again, and I'm beginning to sound like a broken record. I want to thank my brother Wheeler Mdolo, who has brought this matter. Maybe because Wheeler is a new voice, to see that there is need for us to begin to question this arrangement. Why is government making this reckless arrangement, which sounds very corrupt on face value? I leave it up to you. And every time I speak, you know, they say, even the Bible emphasizes, my people perish because of lack of knowledge. There are a lot of things that are going on that are evil in nature that we are not questioning. Unfortunately, we have been reduced into this domicility, but let me say docility. We've become so docile as a people that we are watching. It has become now normal for corruption to even be celebrated. We can go to Dio Karijo to celebrate but in corruption, we can even say that this is corrupt. You can even say that he did deal. But official ceremony break groundbreaking ceremony no kulumba mlelumba pali kwenyu kwenyu alileta kanto kwenyu aleni ako kwenyu leni bale mivila emergency tariffs ba milipirisha but bale anda tamkwete mpia but nishimula lipira kwamba mu November kwenyu